Good evening, everybody, and welcome to MRC Tier 3. We're here live for Race 8 that's coming at you straight from what looks like to be a very sunny Japan. Always really like this circuit. I think we're in for a great race tonight. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce my co-commentator. He's from the land of Max Verstappen, but don't hold that against him. It's the one, the only, Matt Sullivan. Matt, how you doing?
Hello, yes, I am doing very great here, Lovely weather here in Japan.
It is, it's fantastic. Really nice to be commentating with you for the first time as well. Really looking forward to it. You're racing in Tier 4 tonight, aren't you? Have you done much practice on this circuit? What do you think about Japan as a whole?
Well, I think Japan as a whole, it is quite, especially the first sector, is quite a tricky. So if you mess up one corner there, your whole lap is screwed in some points. And in Sector 2, of course, you have that tight left-hander. And the rest is just Spoon is a nice one as well. It's one of my favourite. The lovely Spoon. And Sector 3, the last two corners, you need to get the exit there very good, and you have a good drive.
Yeah, no, I think I totally agree with you there. The first sector is really, really important. And I think we're going to see some different kind of setups tonight. Not that you have to reveal what you've got, because I know that your race is coming up after this in Tier 4. But do you favour a slightly higher downforce around here than you usually would? Or do you think it's just, I'll go for 0-1 wings and just see how I go?
No, the 0-1 wings is probably Gav's idea. Now, I, in my opinion, for how the track feels, I think I will go with a little bit of a higher downforce than normal.
Yeah.
Because especially the cars are bigger now and a little bit more heavier.
Yes.
If you go with full speed and you go, ooh, and you're gone.
No, I totally agree with you, particularly as you said, that first sector. If you've got no wing through there, you just can't hold on, can you? It's such an important sector to do. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go on live with a man who's on the first outlap, which does happen to be Night Shadow. Let's take all the graphics away and we'll take you round a lap of this iconic Suzuka circuit. So there he is, DRS open, and he's across the line as we start. And we go down into turn 1 now. This is a really tricky first corner. It's got sort of two apexes. You brake late, you hang on in, you try and use as much as the curve as you can. Gav is doing excellently through there, and then it's into the S's. This left, right. This bit is all about throttle control. It's about nailing those apexes and make sure that you don't go too much on those curves or it will spin you around. Gav flirting with it there, but he seems to be doing okay. Now we're into this very tricky section. Two right-handers, you don't want to lose it too far left, which Gav doesn't, or else you invalidate your lap. You go hard under the bridge into this hairpin. First really hard braking zone of the lap. Hook it in. You want to make sure that if you're using no TC, you don't get on the power too quickly, but Gav's kept that nice and tidy. Now we're into another one of the most challenging corners on the circuit. This double apex left-hander, you want to get it down into about 6/5 gear. Gav goes a little bit wide there. Misses the first apex, but gets on the second one, and you want to get on the power as early as possible, because this bit is just flat out. With his pedal to the metal, no DRS of course, but if you've got a slightly skinnier setup, this is where you're going to see people making up that climb, and you're looking for about the 100 metre board, hard braking into this last tricky set, this chicane here. For the qualifying, you just want to hook it in right as quickly as possible, and that's Gav across the line with a 131.8, not a bad little banker there.
Well, Melvin is a second quicker.
Oh, blimey. Melvin's looking very racy. Where's Melvin in the table? I think he's always one to look out for.
I think he's in the top 5 still. And another championship contender, Jackster, puts him in P2.
Oh, must say, I've got a big soft spot for Jackster. He's performed really well. I've raced with him in Tier 2, and he's a really quick driver. And he's one person who I think can challenge our tier leader, who is Connor at the moment. He's got a big lead. That's up to 21 points tonight, but it can only take one accident at the back and then a win from Jackster, and it's all to play for. So yeah, I think he's going to be in the hunt all the way.
Interesting championship race in Tier 3 this season.
Yeah, have you got any... Sorry, go ahead.
No, you can go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask if you got anybody that you're particularly rooting for, or you think that we should look out for in Tier 3.
I think if you say in the championship, I think Melvin is definitely a dark horse somewhere waiting for his opportunity. And you see now the championship leader now puts it in P3. So you see how close this battle will be, especially for the crew. And you still have one more guy that's always invisible in this championship. And that's Bob Smith. You never see him. It's always blindly through somewhere in the top 5 in the race. You never knew he was there.
I was about to say, and he's so invisible because I said it was 21 points to Jackster. It's not. It's 21 points to Rob Smith, who is in second place. He got his first win of the season back in Austria, and he's just been, having a look at his scores now, he's just been quietly consistent, getting 9th, 5th, 6th, 10th, just always picking up points. I think that's been the key. He hasn't had any DNFs this season, no time that he's finished outside of the points. And I think he just needs to sort of like keep with that consistency, and he's got a great chance. Whereas a driver like Melvin and Jackster, they've been in and out of the points, always up there or thereabouts. 2 second places for Melvin, I'd really like to see. And he's on top at the moment. I'd love to see him convert one of those second places into a first place tonight.
Sure, it's like I said, it's nearly like a top 4 battle for one title.
Yeah, it is, and I think it's a good ding-dong battle. Japan is always sort of a fascinating race to approach. Traditionally very hard to overtake round here. How do you approach a race like Japan, just because it is so different to like somewhere like where we raced before? Like we've had quite places like Italy, Austria, all of those sort of like pedal to the metal circuits.
Yeah, that is true. You know, in my opinion, you need to be patient. Even when you're pushing the guy around, just be patient. And if the guy breaks a little bit earlier than you expect and you're very much too close to him, then that is your race nearly done.
Yeah.
What I mean with patience, like if he breaks, say somewhere in the 75, you break like 115. So you don't rush into him. Some people have fast setups, I can know that for sure. Some people have like slow setups. Especially the fast are not good in sector 1, but they will be good in sector 2 and 3. The slow one will be good in all the corners except for the straight bits.
Yes.
That's where they're weaker. So it's a little bit up and down for where am I going to overtake. But in my opinion, you just have to get patient and then do it fine.
Totally agree. That's where I was struggling. On Monday night, I got quite lucky. I was very quick through sector 1. I had a higher downforce setup, so I was able to run a little bit, you know, and just really run that and get a big gap to everybody and pull that out by the end of sector 2. Then in sector 3, the cars behind were just catching me down the straight, and it was almost impossible. They were always just up my rear end, and I had to spend a lot of ERS to keep them, to stop them from passing. Where do you think the main overtaking opportunities are going to be around here tonight?
Well, I think definitely in the sector 1, the straight bit before the first corner. And then you have the one curve in sector 2, and then the one after Spoon. But the thing is, after the lovely Spoon, where we see Foxford Raid now driving on that straight, if you get overtaken and you go side by side in this corner, that is not possible.
It's true, I tried it on Monday. It is not. You just if you're on the inside, you understeer into the car on the outside, don't you? And it's just...
Yeah, I did that Friday. I had to brake very hard.
Yeah.
To get my stop, but my race finished after that.
Oh goodness, that's a shame. It wasn't you who came. It wasn't you and Kid Dynamite, was it? I'm trying to remember. There was a big incident between those.
I think it was me, Gaff. Well, Gaff went through, and then it was me and the man and another Dutchman. So we say that.
Well, okay, that's really good advice. I think, yeah, just if you're past, maybe let it go. Don't go have the stones to go through there too wide. It's not worth it. And yeah, you've always got, even if you are past there, you're going to have a DRS zone straight away, aren't you? Down that start-finish straight. So you have an opportunity to go again. So. Yeah, I think that's really good advice. I'm going to stick on board with Connor, who's on the outlap, currently P5 on the road. Oh, goodness me. Jackster.
Well, Jackster's disqualified.
Yeah, let's see if I can... I mean...
For blocking the pit straight.
I feel that's the game being daft.
I think he was waiting for other drivers to get past.
Same. Yeah.
And he got disqualified for it.
He will be fuming. Well, fingers crossed. Oh, no, that is... That's not even he keeps his time. That's him starting from P20.
No,
so
he is literally now lost the first challenge for him.
oh goodness me! Well, if one person can do it, it is Jackster. But that is just not the way you want to see his qualifying session go, because he is, like I said at the start, one of our championship contenders. And as we were saying, it's so difficult to pass around here. What would your strategy be if you were forced to start in P20? Would you go for a hard tyre and try and outlast people? Do you think the overcut's quite powerful?
In my opinion, if you're lost, I think you should go for the hard. And you know, a lot of people in front of you, there will always be mistakes somewhere in every sector from people. And if one crashes out in like P10, P11 and 12 will likely be following him.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing, just be patient and see what other drivers in front of you will do. If you have a slow start, don't worry about it, because in my opinion, I think a lot of people in turn one will want to get a quick start, be up front, and then, well, eventually touch each other, have a nice hug, and they go spinneroony somewhere else.
Precisely. I mean, you raced on Friday in MRCX, which was a reverse grid. How did you cope with, I assume that you had quite a lot of fast guys coming from behind. How did you face that challenge? Was it intimidating, or was it a good challenge to go wheel to wheel with some of the tier 1 guys?
It was a fine challenge. I started P3, I remember that. And even though for those 2 laps that I had, it was a fun challenge to see you try to defend against fast drivers, especially in sector 1. But you can see in sector 2 and in 3, you just see they go all the way. Oh, and looks like there's another disqualification.
Oh no, it's
Melvin.
Melvin, our P1 driver.
Ooh, the 2 Dutchmen have disqualified.
Goodness me. I think we're going to have some words with Codemasters tonight, because that's not bad. And to rub salt to the wound, Connor has just put it on P1 with his lap, so I don't know if that's helped out with just 2 of the main championship contenders falling down to 20th and 19th on the grid respectively.
And Rob Smith still hasn't done a lap yet.
Yeah, so it's all just sort of fallen into Connor's lap for a moment, and we were talking, this is one of Connor, I was talking with him on Friday night, he says it's one of his least favourite tracks, but he had an excellent result here a couple of seasons ago where he had to have the win to keep the championship alive, and he was able to win that night, so yeah, not looking bad for our championship leader, who's just had the luck go his way so far, but there are absolutely no points for qualifying.
Yeah, he did tell me that this is not his favourite track at all.
Oh,
this one, and I think the next one as well.
Yeah, where are we racing next after this?
I think the next one is Imola.
Oh, yeah.
Blancura.
Yeah, that's another tight, twisted... We seem to have gone from a stretch. We've had all the fast tracks like Austria and Italy in a row, and then all of a sudden we've gone Hungary, Japan, Imola, which tend to be the tighter, more technical tracks, the higher downforce setup. So, hey, he had a very good... What did he do last time in Hungary? He had a DNS in Hungary, so he did not start. So, that's what's brought the others back into contention. Fingers crossed we can get a couple of points on the board tonight. I also, unfortunately, just saw, as we were talking, Rob Smith had disconnected from the session. So that's another one of our championship contenders.
Oh, it's really falling to his hands, isn't it?
Yeah, so that's what. We've got Rob Smith in second, no time set. Jackster and Melvin disqualified. Who's next on the list? B17, where's he? Only in 12th place.
So that is a huge... It's actually quite huge if Connor can keep it.
Yeah, correct. And I was on board with B17. He's currently... I thought he was on a lap, but he has... it's red, so he has DSQ'd himself, or at least invalidated that lap sometime around. We are getting to the business end of qualifying, so who's on an out lap at the moment? Let's stick with Ghost Rider in the Alpine. He's had... Is he one of our... No, he's not one of our standings. He's currently 15th in the championship. Had a few results this season, 7th and 4th in Canada earlier on. He's always somebody who's always there or thereabouts. I think he just needs a good run of luck. And maybe Japan's a place where your luck can turn very, very quickly. You can go from being in control to suddenly facing the wrong way in Sector 1. So let's see what he can do on this quick lap. So, Taking that first sector very nice and cleanly. There will be a little bit of traffic, I think, as some of the drivers start to do that outlap, so it is going to be a challenge. But of course, we've got a lot of people who will just get out the way. I think it's one of the first things. How long have you been in the league with us now? Is it?
I think when Tier 4 was announced.
Okay, so that's, gosh, a couple of... That's the previous game, wasn't it? I think that we was F1.
Yeah, that was... I think 2020, I think.
Yeah. And was this your first league that you started in, or?
Yeah, this was my very, very first league. I saw this on Facebook, and I was like, oh, why not? I'll give it a try.
Yeah, no, precisely. I mean, same with me, but I remember when I was joining the first time, there's little things you have to learn, like, hey, if somebody's on a quick lap, just have that awareness to get out the way, and, you know, don't be that corker-bot, don't be the one person who ruins that other lap. I think Ghost Rider is closing up on another person who's on their fast lap, which is Mindful Wasp, so fingers crossed neither of them get in each other's way. Mindful Wasp looking to just get a lap on the board here, but Ghost Rider is all the way at the back of the map. Don't think they're going to go racing quite yet. Let's see what happens as they come to the line. Ghost Rider will go across the line with, that's still fourth place. He made a better time, so that's 0.197 down. And Mindful Wasp does manage to time it. He's down in 15th place. There might be just enough time for another quick lap, but it is going to be tight. Oh no, sorry, Ghost Rider goes up into P1, I'm afraid. So that took a little time to go, so that's an excellent lap from him. He's currently our pole sitter, so now it's all down to see what Connor can do as he starts this final lap. I'm going to stick on board with the Red Bull man. What have you seen?
I saw Donny going up to P4.
Oh, very nice. Donny's another one, isn't he, who's always there or thereabouts, so I feel that he's...
Yeah. Like, some people are just invisible when they drive.
I know, and hey, I suffer it. I know I focus on some people. You try and focus on the leaders. There's people who always seem to be there or thereabouts. It's the quiet drivers that don't get the appreciation that they deserve. And I think Donny, like you say, is one of those. Rob Smith being another. Fingers crossed Rob Smith is able to get back into the session and we see a little bit from Donny tonight. But I'm going to focus on Connor now. He's got a little bit of traffic behind him, but he just seemed to have followed the Alpine in front of him. He's gone very wide, and I can't see how he's going to improve on the time. That would have cost him massively. Let's see if we get any indication of his time as he comes through sector 2 at the after spoon. But he will be absolutely kicking himself. I think that's the chance of P1 gone.
Yeah, but still, if he gets a good start at the race start, that will be even more beneficial for him as well.
Yes.
He's in P2, and his contenders are nowhere near him at the moment. So if he just have a good start, stays in the top 5 with it, he should be safe, even though he is still P2.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I've just seen the Ferrari man, and that's go even quicker with about by 0.2, but that wasn't enough to put him up above Connor. See, nuts, has he got anything in the bag? Currently P5. Don't think he has. Maybe he's got time for one more flying lap though. He just went over the finish line in time, so he might be the last man on the circuit. Let's see who else we've got.
Benitez has spun in sector 1, so he will not improve on his time.
That's a shame.
Nuts. I think he just started a new lap. Yes, he did.
Got bored with him. I think he's going to be the last man to complete the time across the lap, and he's only got what? Look at how close those top 5 are, separated by literally 0.2 seconds. If you're on this lap now and the track is at its warmest and you've got your eye in, now is a big opportunity for Much Nuts to make a name for himself and make it an all Alpine front row. Stick on board. Let's see what time he's got as we come up to the second sector. Heart in the mouth time now, as you've really got to nail every single apex. Goes a little bit wide through spoon. He's going to put his foot down, use all of that curb on the outside if he can.
He's not improved much, as far as I can see. 10th. This is going to put him on pole, you know.
It might do.
161. 1,000 off if he gets this.
It's going to be very quick, but we know how treacherous those last few corners are. He goes a little bit wide through there.
Will he get it? No, he will not. He will stick to P6. That last corner there, that's the one that actually, the wide one that was the one that actually screwed him a little bit more over.
Yeah, no,
If he had that wide, he will be a 1-2 for.
But he's got to keep those laps going all the way to the end. Unfortunately, it wasn't quite to be, but an excellent performance there from Much Nuts in 6th. Let's quickly take you through the grid then, as we get ready for our feature race. So it's the Alpine man Ghost Rider in pole with a wonderful 1:31.080. And Connor in the Red Bull, our current championship leader, in 2nd. Panizia in the Ferrari. P3 Simba, one of our Tier 2 drivers, studying in tonight in the medium tyres. That's an excellent result for him. P4. Donny P5. Muts Nuts P6. Ty Clear 7th. Fox River 8 in 8th. Very nice and fitting. Boothie in 9th in the Haas. Fire Rooster in 10th. Mindful Wasp in 11th. Night Shadow in the Aston Martin in 12th. Scratch Charisma in 13th. Single Track in 14th. Subbing in tonight as well on the mediums. Then you've got B17, 15th. Bagnazo in 16th. Then, unfortunately, we've got Rob Smith and Ant, who did not set a time, and our 2 very controversial disqualifications. Codemasters, have a word with yourself. Melvin and Jackster, starting from the back of the grid. So, what's your call for the race? Who do you think are the ones to look out for on that qualifying performance?
I think definitely. I think you can't ignore Connor, of course, championship leader. But in my opinion, I think it has to be something with Ghost Rider. He seemed pacey on this track tonight as well. And who was P3? And Panizza, if he can keep it on track, he will be a very dangerous man as well for the constructors, for the Ferrari team.
Yes, I think he's reserved quite well this season, having looked at his results. Yeah, he's got a DNF and a 5th, but he'll be looking to break through and become one of those Tier 3 regulars. Of course, we've got spots, and there's a lot of opportunity with the new game just around the corner. So if you are watching for the first time or you want to get involved, please do, or even if you're interested in the new game, get on the Discord, show us your time, put some laps in, and you will get a drive. You will get your chance to prove yourself. And I think what I would say there is we value racers who are, you don't have to be the quickest, just make sure that you're sensible on track, you're safe, consistent. They're the type of drivers that we're looking for this league. But we'll look at the start. I'll just get everything set. Let's have a look at the tyre situation. So we've got six people on the hards. That's an interesting call from Ghost Rider in P1 going on the hards. Would you have done that, or would you have tried to stick on a pair of mediums and go up the road?
Well, it is a very difficult thing. He has pace to just go away. But of course, in my opinion, the hards do feel better than mediums. It depends. If you push too hard with your tyres, and Ghost Rider doesn't have to push that hard because he has no one to fight with in front of him. Yes, defendable.
Yeah.
If you can do it good on the hards, you're safe. But if, like, say, Connor and Panizza get past straight away in the start, then I think you're a little bit more in trouble than the other ones, because they will just drive away when their tires heat up, and he has to try to catch him with another medium behind him with a Simba, and then Donny with hard, but then you have Mustard again.
Yeah, no, I agree. If he's got the pace to just be on the same pace as the medium runners, he'll be absolutely fine. I think he'll be at an advantage overall. But like you say, if not, if he just gets bogged down and just keeps holding up people behind, it could come into a tricky race. Hards can go pretty long. Mediums are usually around, 12 laps around here. I was, with 2 safety cars, was able to push them 16 laps around here, but I would not recommend it because they felt absolutely dreadful towards the end, so do so at your own peril. Having a look down the grid at our other championship contenders, so Jackster starting on the mediums, at the back Melvin on the hard, so Jackster looking maybe to be a little bit racier at the start and make a few passes up the field. Unfortunately, the other big news is that Rob Smith is still a ghost, so he has been unable to get back into the session. Fingers crossed he can at some point, or is trying, because otherwise we'll have been robbed of the man in 2nd place having any chance of chasing down our championship leader.
That's definitely when you are in 2nd and you're still, and the game is trying to prevent you from getting in. That is the worst feeling ever, to try to defend it and get closer to the man in P2.
It is. It does. I agree. It feels absolutely rubbish because all you want to do is race. You want the chance, don't you? You don't want any technical errors. I'm going to stay on board. We're going to see Jackster be our last man lining up. So we'll go on board with Ghost Rider. Take it from his perspective so we can see those 5 lights when we're ready. Set up for the final moments here. The game just taking a moment to settle. We can see Ghost Rider's cars bobbing around in excitement. Here we go, the first lights. 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. And we're away here. Let's see what happens as the game decides to give me an awful camera angle. Benito's going right down the
here.
Who are you looking at there?
Very good start from Jackson, already up to P15, P16.
That's excellent. And
P15. I don't even know anymore.
As the Dutchman flies up the field, it's Connor who's in the lead. I don't know what happened at the moment to Ghost Rider, but he had some sort of awful start and he finds himself down in P12. Simba up into P2, Donny on the hards. There are a lot of medium runners up the start, but they don't seem to have found their way up, so we have a group of 3 hard tyre runners back from 3rd, 4th and 5th from Ty Clear. I wonder if that is going to be a little bit of a cork in the bottle for the other medium runners, and if Simba and Connor can just run up front. That's the way that the race is shaping out at the moment. Our other championship contender, I said he was in 15th place, B17, finds himself at the back of the grid and a little way off. So yeah, once more, if you're Connor, you are laughing because it's all of a sudden just falling into your hands.
Oh, and there's another spin from the Alpine that brings Jaxter's now nearly back in the points.
Yeah, that's been an excellent start. Let's get the position changes up to see who our big winners and losers are. So, Fox River 8, Fire Rooster up 5 points, Scratch up 6, Jackster up now, up 9 positions as he is the one moving and shaking.
What that was. Oh, that was a good overtake there from Jackster in the middle of taking the corner in Spoon as well.
He is looking particularly racy. He's all at the back of the Haas. Is he thinking of making a move? Oh!
And the Haas fell forward as well. He went very, very wide on that.
Yeah, he did.
Ghost Rider now having a scrap.
Yeah, that was it. And I think I saw a little bit. There might have been a bit of contact at the front. I saw. Go ahead.
People are already picking up. So mindful has some damage here somewhere. Let's see, does he? Yes, he has. He has wing damage. Ah,
shame. It's a shame. Just the cars filter through turn 1. I'm going to stick on board Ghost Rider. Jackster looking very racy though as he does get past that hat of Boothby up into P10. It is the Dutchman who is on a big charge now. Remember, he started at P20th on the grid. We all knew he had the pace. He put in a very quick time in the game and just disqualified him. In fact, Mazo goes through. Oh no, he doesn't, but Boothby's there and he seems to run him a bit wide. It's very hard to go through too wide there. And he's going to lose another place as it's the Alpine of Mutt's Nuts who takes him back. So that's been a very tricky corner and through as well. But Back Mazo just seems to be going backwards through the field and there's been contact there between him and the Ferrari. Oh my goodness, yeah, he's going to be fuming under that helmet. He was up in about P11, P12 and now finds himself back in P19 and about 4-5 seconds off the rest of the pace. Those Alfa Romeos now holding 19th and 20th. Not a good day for that team. I'm going to go back up front to the top though, and it's Simba and Connor. See what, Simba might be tier 2, he might be reserving, but that doesn't mean that he's not going to race, and he is all over the back of our current championship leader. Remember, he is from upper tier.
There was a touch there from a Williams and an Alpine.
Oh, is that Fox River 8 and Fire Rooster?
That was Ty Clear and Ghost Rider, but Ty Clear survived. Looks like Ghost Rider's got the worst of it.
That's right, we've got a couple in
and Gav in the pits.
Yes, but have a quick look. It's a new front nose for Gav and it's a new front nose for Ghost Rider, so clearly some contact there, unfortunately. We'll be looking to make up a little bit of time from the back as I have a look at who our closest people are at the moment. I'm just going to stick on board with our other Red Bull man, not Connor, but the Fox River 8, looking racy on those hards. We've got 2 medium runners up top and those 2 hard runners in 3rd and 4th. They're not really breaking away from the rest. Connor's not really making that medium tyre count as that gap is only at 1.9 seconds as it stands. Let's see who else is looking particularly racy. We've got Ant in the hat, of course he's a tier 1 driver. Very interesting to see how he manages his mediums and goes through the field. Expect him to go through the field quickly, but oh yeah, just so we can say Jackster again, up into P7 from P20. That man is on an absolute mission at the moment.
Well, he is definitely on a mission, of course. He wants to catch up to the man in P1 to get those points.
Yes, and I just put the interval up between him and the leader. 7 seconds now separate between P1 and P7 in Jackster. That is not an unsurmountable lead. And fingers crossed, there's Connor and Simba. Connor seems to just see the place for Simba, who flies up into P1. So maybe Connor can relax a bit. He knows that there will be a few place demotions at the end.
Fox and Donnie are fighting it on the lovely S's.
Oh goodness me, they were going side by side through the S's. You can't really do that, lads. And it's Donny who seems to just about hold on to P3, but it's clear that him and the Fox are going at it, and it is only lap 4. Of course, the more they fight, the more that's going to bring into contention those people behind them, and it's people like Fire J, Rooster, Scratch and Jackster who all will want to get in on that action as well. See if anybody on that is
Ooh, Scratch Charisma spun out.
That's such a shame.
There's another place for Jackson. No, I did not say anything. Leave me alone.
It's nearly there. He was about there.
Jackson closer to tie clear.
It does. That gap now under a second, and of course DRS is available.
Tie clear's gone as well.
Oh, that was good. He's somehow still in the lead, but Jackson's definitely gonna have the run on him.
He definitely has the run on him.
Remember, we were advised you don't want to be side by side.
That's the thing. Who is brave here?
Jackster always had that position. I think he's very safely done that. But I wonder if Ty Clear is going to think about coming back. Remember, now he will have the DRS as we go under the start finish next.
Jackster had a better exit, it seems.
Oh yes.
Does have the DRS, and will he get closer to the Dutchman?
Doesn't look like it. That DRS light is flashing at the back of Jackson, so I do wonder if he spent a lot on these first few laps to get ahead.
By the looks of it, he did spend a very, very, very much of it.
But I think it's worth the risk, isn't it? Because it takes one safety car and all of a sudden you are back in the hunt and your ERS is back to full, so I think it's worth the risk. Only problem now he's got is 4 seconds between him and the nearest car, so he needs to break that gap up to tie clear, up to about second, and fingers crossed to start making steady progress on that train. It's all the way back from...
Oh, it's a safety car.
Oh, safety car. What's happened there?
I have no clue, to be honest.
I can't see who's crashed or what's happened.
Well, I think someone lost a wing on a very, very stupid place.
Yeah, it must be, because I'll just go in through the field to see if I can see anybody. It's Mutt's Nuts, who has 0 front wing, so I don't know if he was temporarily in the barrier or something, but that is going to bring out our first safety car of the game. Right, so what do you do then? If you're on mediums now, it's lap 5, do you think it's too early to go to hards? Do you pivot to a 2-stop, or do you stay out?
I think it's just too early for the hards right now.
Yeah.
Now your tyres can be now cooling off a little bit. You don't have to drive like a maniac to get in front and go somewhere. So now your tyres are nice and fresh, cool, so you can take it for just a couple, not a lot, but just a couple more laps. And I think if you want to get to the hards, you pit like in maybe lap 12, 13, 14 max. Because I do not trust 15 and 16.
Yeah, no, that does sound sensible. I was just on board with Mutt's Nuts, who does go into the pits. He will be forced to change tyre because he's got front wing change. And what band of tyre is he going on? That is the hards, which can go to the end if you are desperate, but fingers crossed. He'll be hoping for another safety car so he can get on maybe another
4
set
people
of
up here.
Ooh, who else is in the pits?
Mindful is in, Gav is in, and Panizza.
It's interesting. Panizza's been
in the pits.
He's been in and out. Gav put on a pair of softs. I don't know why, just for lols, because he was never going to the end on those. So now he is on the hards.
Lovely.
So that does bring some people who spun earlier back into contention. I'm thinking about drivers like Ghost Rider, Scratch, Mutts, who've all had a bit of a tricky start to the race, but will be hoping to make up some time. Of course, we've got a couple of penalties down the field as well. I will just bring up that data. So we've got 3 seconds for B17, 3 for Back Mesa, and unfortunately 6 for Mindful Wasp. I think he's served 5 of those in the pit stop at the moment. So this track around Japan, is it one where obviously we use tight corner cutting? Do you struggle at all with avoiding that and getting pens, or do you think it's fairly easy to just keep it between the white lines?
Well, I think it is an opinion. If you go like in the qualifying, you have to cut some corners to get a fast lap. And if you stay between the lines, you would just get like a 132s in between. Well, in a race, that's a very different thing, because if you touch a corner here and your tyres are nearly like 25%, you could just go fly out for no reason. Especially some corners here are death corners.
Yes, yeah, in particular, I mean, I'm trying to think of the ones that are the biggest death corners that we've got around here. I mean, the S's are just murder if you accidentally get it wrong on one of those bits of curb. Those two... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I think you have Spoon on the outside one.
Yes.
That's the one, and one just before the bridge. Touch that one and you go flying into the wall.
It is so easy just to get your back wheel. It's usually the back left that all of a sudden you're fine there, and then you're in the wrong direction and you're swearing a lot. So
swearing 5 different languages.
Yes, definitely. Well, if you're Dutch, you will. I had a great story about. I went to Holland once, and it was very nice, very lovely country. Took to Amsterdam. We went to KFC.
Right.
Japanese couple in front of us. The person who was serving at KFC tried Dutch, Spanish, French, English, all of these things, and just I'm there as a dumb Brit. I can't speak my own language, never mind 4. So I was just in absolute awe of your country and your ability to learn several different languages and my own ignorance.
Yeah. Well, I've got to say the worst language for them to learn is probably English.
Yeah. Why is that? Just because of the spelling? Because it's just awful.
No, it sounds just so different when a Dutchman is trying to speak proper English, and then it's like, no, just stop.
Well, I'm glad
some people like Melvin, he got it under control.
Well, I'm glad to have you on.
I've got a friend, he speaks half Dutch and English in between.
Oh, that's got to be weird. Yeah, just to sort of have a switch between the two of them. Well, I will not bring out my Dutch impression tonight, I promise. I will keep this stream nice and safe. Fingers crossed, we've got the last of our drivers lining up. I'm just having a look at the YouTube chat. Martin Hills, single track, number 10, saying he's seeing a lot of disconnections and big desyncs. So yeah, do remember, we've had a couple of problems with people coming back in. Don't force your way in. If the game keeps booting you out, it might be for a reason, which is unfortunate, but I know you want to go racing. As we are about to go back racing here as the safety car is in this lap. Let's stay on board with our leading man, Simba, who's warming up those tyres. Let's see when he's going to go. Usually it's just a bit after the chicane. Hasn't gone quite yet. There we go. Pedal to the metal now. I've seen so many people put the hammer down too early and lose it. But Simba hasn't done it. Connor behind, but it's Donny who's actually looking the racier of the two. As they head out into turn 1, is Donny going to think about a move into turn 1? No, he isn't. He stays out of it. Ty Clear, who's got a 5-second penalty for ignoring yellow flags. I don't know if he had an incident at the back as Fire Rooster dipped straight into the pits. Odd move. Maybe there was a bit of contact. Yeah.
Looks like he's gone on softs.
That's strange. Maybe had a bit of contact at the back or something, but
I think he did. Because there's actually quite a gap between Ty Clear and Fox. So I think someone has been sleeping.
Yeah, and Ty Clear was the one who got the penalty, 5 seconds for overtaking or something over yellow flag. So maybe something happened just before the start-finish straight. Maybe somebody lost it under traction, and that's why they've caused a bit of panic back there. As we see Ghost Rider go through. Gosh, look at this train. That Ghost Rider, we've got them going maybe 3 wide. I know that's a ghosted McLaren. Is it not? I don't know if he is a ghost. He seems to be racing a bit harder. He doesn't look as slow as most ghosts do. So maybe Rob Smith is back in the session. He's scratched up to P14 now. We've got lots of cars here as Gav goes through on Mudsnuts. They're going through Spoon together. That's an excellent move from the Aston Martin man. Hasn't had the best race so far, but he's up into P16 and is only lap 8. There's a lot of time to recover. You see Ant and Boothby go side by side, Ant making the move on his Haas teammate, so the Tier 1 driver subbing in is up into P1. And I know we were talking about Jackster, the great start that he's had. This closing up of the field, I think, really helps him. I know he's got that big gap between Ty Clear, but now his opportunity is to try and catch Simba, Connor, Donny and the Fox River 8 before they escape up the road.
Yeah, now is the time to throw everything you have, go quick by quick every lap just to catch up to the likes of Ty Clear, Fox, especially I think Fox is the one you want to get. He's behind Donny, Connor, all those people very close by. If you get past Ty Clear, you just book it.
Yes.
If you are on a faster tyre, the Ty Clear is on the long-lasting tyre. Now that is going to be troublesome for the mediums who are behind him.
It is, and I do think the mediums are maybe just getting to that stage now where they're probably on a par with the hards. Their advantage is probably gone. The hards are starting to come into their own. A lot of people saying that the hards are the better race tyre around here. I think the mediums aren't up to much, but I will just stay on board with one medium versus hard battle. We've got Ant, the Tier 1 driver, up behind Single Track, who is in the McLaren tonight. He's had an excellent showing all week. He was very unlucky maybe not to get the win in Tier 2. Got a top 2 finish in Tier 1 on Monday. So he'll be looking for another very strong performance as he shows us his talents down in Tier 3. Remember, there will be no DRS until... DRS has just been enabled this lap, but Ant isn't quite going to get it. Is he going to go for a move? I don't think so. He just doesn't have quite the gap behind him, so I'm going to go to P17 behind him in the McLaren. He was closing... in the Mercedes, he was closing up on Boothby. Very sensible from here through that double apex. You can see he's got a little bit more pace than that car in front. This is where that all-important patience comes in. It's about dealing when you have to feel like you're physically pushing a car behind.
Is gone.
It has. Let's go to the back of the field. Let's see what's happened. That's somewhere in turn 1, and that's another all 3 yellows. That is our second safety car. Right.
What happened?
Don't know. I'm going to stay on board with Fire Rooster.
I think he lost it out of this corner and touched the curb on the left side. That's one here.
Yes.
And he spun all the way through there. That happened to me in practice a lot.
That is such a shame. Difficult race for the Alfa Romeo driver. Was never quite in it. So he will be our first DNF of the evening. However, that balances out the field again. And now, what do you think? If you're a medium tyre runner, is now the time to pit and take a set of hards to the end?
Well, it is a 50-50 now. If you feel your tyres on a medium, if they feel like, nah, I don't want them anymore, you can go to the hards. But then you have to, it's like 70 laps on the hard. That is doable. There's apparently what I heard, that someone did 23 laps on hards, but his tyre exploded. I heard that somewhere. So looks like Simba is in the pits. Connor is in the pits, so there you are. The medium one is now time for pitting and have like maybe 16-15 lap on hards. Yep,
I'm really interested to... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
If you're lucky, if there's not another safety car. If you're lucky if you have that, then you're pretty much safe.
I'll bring up the number of pit stops here. I think I can do that. Yeah, number of stops. So... we've got Donny Fox, Ty and Single Track all on the hard, staying out. Then we've got Ghost Rider, who pitted early, pitted under that first safety car, and he's still on the medium, so he's got a long way to go on that set of medium tyres till the end. Then we've got Gab, who went softs and hards. He can go all the way to the end. As can Scratch, who's on the hards. Mutt Nuts, Simba, our race leader, who's on the freshest set of hards, is down in P9. So he's got a few. He's got like, what, 1, 2, 3... 4 cars ahead of him that don't necessarily have to make another pit stop, so it's not simple for these drivers who've come in. They've still got to do a bit of a job, haven't they?
Yeah, but then now there's something very, very happening here. Jackster is now finally behind the man he wants to be.
Oh yes.
It's Connor, the championship leader against technically number 2, because the other number 2, he is not in this lobby, and I think we will not see him anymore.
Yes, so that is a really good shout there. So yeah, they're now less than a second apart. Well, they will be right next to each other on track on the same set of tyres. This just becomes a 16-lap shootout, doesn't it? And with those other hard runners behind Connor, it hasn't really worked out. We were all talking about luck. He got all the luck in qualifying. That luck seems to have deserted him as Jackster's had an excellent run up the field. Trying to see who else there is to look out for. Like we said, Ghost Rider was the person who started on pole, finds himself in 5th. He's going to have to go some to make those mediums last until the end. I think he might have to force another pit stop, but he's one to look out for as well. As I think is Mutts Nuts, who finds himself having 8th on a pair of hards. He could have put it on pole if it wasn't for one mistake on the very last corner of the very last lap. So, yeah,
I think you will know that right now as well. Like, that will be a stupid feeling for him. If Ghost Rider can beat him, he will be P1.
Yes. With P1 on the road, but of course there is a long way to go. We have 2 safety cars, so maybe that does reduce our slight chance of having a third. We get quite a few around here in Japan, unfortunately, due to the tight, twisting nature, and those barriers are closer than you think. There is runoff, but as we've said, if you get it wrong, you're very quickly just sort of speared into one, aren't you? And there's nothing you can do. That gravel only slows you down so much. Down the field, just as we fill to full, we'll have a look at the position changes quickly, just to see. Obviously, we've got people with different starts, Jackster may be the big winner there, up 9 places. Single track up 10, but of course he's one of the drivers not yet to pit. But Ferrari man, Panazia will be looking for a better start. Now 16 places on where he started. I know he's had a couple of connection issues. But yeah, he's the one who's got all of the glory to make up.
That is something. It's not a good drive for the Ferrari people today.
No, it's been a bit of a struggle, but I think Melvin's just hasn't had the luck, has he, today? He is very quick. He's gone on a pair of softs, so clearly he's hoping and praying for another safety car and that he can make loads of moves through here. I don't know, the softs around, the one problem with going on the softs around here, particularly under a safety car, I find, is that you use a bit of your tyre up under the safety car, not much, but enough, then you've got 2 laps without any DRS, and then by the time you've got DRS, the softs are starting to go off, and they've become useless, so that's why I think that maybe the mediums are the better choice around here if you have to go for something, but the safety car is in this lap. They'll stay on board with Donny, who's crawling through. Casino trying the last chicane. When is he going to go? And yes, he goes to the place most people do. Just as you're through there, down on the power. Let's see who's got the run. I think it's Single Track, actually, who's had a really good run. And he's all over the back of Tide Clear. He's got the overspeed as they go side by side into turn 1, and he's up into P3, and he makes it stick. Excellent move there, opportunist move from the McLaren driver. He's up into P3. If we get a few scraps, I'm going to go down to Connor and Jackster. I want to see how these two navigate this S's section. Interesting to see. Jackster just seems to be... He's in the dirty air now. These two are even. That gap's there being pretty still. I think this move is all about patience. It's all about Jackster knowing when to make the move on Connor. They are close in the championship. Jackster will want to make up a lot of points on Connor if he wants to catch up.
I think Connor's feeling the pressure a little bit, because now he has a championship contender right up his rears.
Oh, we've got a yellow.
Not a good feeling to have.
What's that? We've got another yellow. That's the Ferrari man?
Is gone.
I think
he lost it at the corner.
Yeah,
did he quit? Oh, he's still driving.
It's still driving. I don't know, but that has brought out.
He disqualified. No, DNF.
That is
no clue.
That is bizarre because he seemed to lose it under the bridge, but maybe he kept the engine running. I don't know. The game has let him carry on. And that is our third safety car in as many laps. Right. I'm going to stay.
5 laps at the moment.
I know, there's so few racing laps. I'm going to stay on board with Donny. Let's see what our hard runners do. Donny is into the pit, so he's...
Fox is still going on. Is he going to play the team game now?
Well,
the Red Bull man.
He has got the opportunity. Fox can run pretty late in these races. I think it was Fox who was in tier 2 and he took the hards 23, 24 laps.
Ah, see, I knew it hurt somewhere.
Well, he did it and I was behind him, and then all of a sudden he just didn't turn right under the bridge and just went straight into the wall, and that brought out the late safety car. So he was praying for a late safety car, but he was it and wasn't able to benefit from it. So you've got to be careful and know when to pit and know when those tyres are going off. Seeing a lot of those hard runners go onto the mediums, but of course they've had no time to try and get a gap, no time at all. So look at all of those medium runners. From Donny, was in P1, now finds himself back in P13 with pretty much the rest of the field apart from Night Shadow all needing to pit again. What a turnaround this safety car session has been for Gav, who pitted on the hards fairly early on, maybe under like the first safety car, and we've just had 2 more. He hasn't had to pit, and he's found himself up in P3.
Yeah, I don't know if that's just dumb luck or a very good strategy to get all of this right.
I'm sure Gav would say that it was his master plan all along, but I do think there's a few elements of luck. Yeah, a few elements of luck.
You would always say that was my master plan.
I've heard it all now. I heard a Dutchman do a Scottish accent.
Boy, that is not a good thing, eh? I will stop now before I get Gav behind me.
Yeah, it's like I'm listening to Shrek. It's uncanny. Let's see what happens then. All the drivers now, all the way back to B17, are under the safety car. Come on, we want to go racing. They usually don't bring the safety car.
Late call. Go.
Yeah, a late call. We are all here. There's nobody bringing us up. The game might...
Not doing it.
No, it's not, is it? It is not.
Oh, that's not nice.
It should do. So we've got another lap to go around and marvel at the wonder that is Suzuka, and those drivers have a little bit more time to think. So, having a look at the strongest drivers here, we've got Fox River 8 and single track. They will need to pit again. Unfortunately for them, I reckon the decision not to pit under that safety car was the wrong one, because there's maybe one more safety car in this game.
Maybe.
And they're never going to get a run further up the road to come back in without any traffic. They are. Yeah, there's whatever they do, I think when they pit, they are going to be stone dead last. So, for those two, I think...
They do get a 4 places demotion. So, I think, in my opinion, I think the Fox is now doing just the team game, just doing the Sergio Perez kind of stuff here, trying to get Connor closer to everyone in his rear.
Do you think that's a benefit, though? Do you think that causing a DRS train is beneficial, or do you want to have those little gaps?
Depends if you are defending for your teammate. I would do, if I was P1 and I will get a 4 place demotion because I know I will never win it.
Yeah.
I just go very slow in corners and just go straight out the exits. That means the car behind everyone, but you have to tell your teammate though, because if you don't tell him, then he's going to be screwed in the same position. Tell him so he can brake a little bit more earlier, and then the other ones will just merely pack up to each other, and he will go to. You will have a better exit, you will go past the next one, then the next corner, then past the other one. But it's just a team game for how do you play it. Do you want to go quick, or do you want to go slow as possible in corner and then just boot it out in the exits?
Well, I think you're absolutely right there. Japan's a really good circuit as well for just sort of parking it on the apex and not worrying about it. If he, for some reason, Donny, I don't know if he's had a little bit of a George Russell moment or a spin, but suddenly finds himself back.
He had a 4-second penalty with a collision with someone.
Oh, that's a shame. I want to get back to this pack as well, as we've got a slow down here. Ty Clear going very, very slowly. No, you want to catch up to the rest of the field, mate, because there's now a huge gap. And does that mean we're going to have the safety car not come in for a second lap?
No.
Because they were
You're
going.
kidding. Oh, well, lads. We're still in the safety car.
Yeah, so don't know, going through a controversial move there, Ty Clear, to try and make sure that we never go racing again, and that Foxford Night Shadow wins by default as we finish this race under safety car. This isn't what we want. We want to go racing, so we go around very, very slowly again as Melvin and Fire Rooster. And there must have been a collision or something, some sort of chaos, because we've now got two cars back into the pits, needing new bits of carbon fibre on the front.
Melvin is not having his day today in this race. I think if he does not get points in this race, I think his championship hopes will slowly be fading away.
Yeah, well, we've got how many races? The season was cut down from 13 to 12, I believe, so with the new game coming out sooner. And this is round number 8. So, yeah, we've got, after this, 4 more races. This time is running out now, isn't it? Every time that you don't outperform the man at the top, it just becomes a ticking time bomb, and you'll just go, oh my goodness, how am I ever going to catch up to him? Particularly when Connor's is pretty much, he's out of the championship contenders. He's the leading one, isn't he? I know he's in P7, but he's got Simba, Single Track and Fox are all going to have demotions after that. Scratch
and they still have to pit as well.
Yes, and Owen's... Scratch is reserving to 3, but yeah, there's a lot of...
So your Simba, Single Track and the Fox with the 8, that is 3 positions.
Yeah. So there's a lot of demotions there, which means that Connor's still in a very good position. Right, lads, fingers crossed, we are on the final straight. Please, we don't want any more slowdowns. We want to go racing. We want uninterrupted action about 11 laps. Yeah, 11 laps.
Hey!
Safety car in this lap, that's what we want to see. Yeah. Keep on board with Fox River 8 now. One problem he's got is he's on 15 lap old hards. Those hards definitely reaching what we would say the end of their lifestyle. Look at that front right. You can see a little bit of graining on there. And well, I don't know about you, I can't remember which tyre was really starting to go around here, but I was struggling into the right-handers as we see Fox River 8 go now. That's a nice start from him, Single Track, not really being able to keep up.
Not a good start for Connor though, because Jackson is up to his rear. Very, very much.
Yes, he is. He's going to go for the move around the outside. We're going to see these two championship contenders right in the mix. This is a very late...
Oh! Connor keeps it.
That was... I think that was... No, you go ahead.
Ooh, that was something to hold my teeth together.
It was. I think Jackster had the run on the outside, but he just knew he was never going to get it done and was going to be pushed wide, so seemed to back out. I think that was very sensible. He knows that there are more corners, there will be better overtaking opportunities. Now he's going to be a bit careful because he's got the tier 1 driver of Ant, that Haas, right behind him on the same set of tyres, on the same strategy. And yeah, does he let him go? Does he let the tier 1 driver harass Connor in front? Or do you actually try and defend this position?
Well, by the looks of it, it looks like Jackson is right up his rear on Connor again. But you don't have to fight Anton at all. You will get your position back either way. But if he can irritate Connor in a way for Jackson's beneficial, well, that will help Jackson more. But if Connor does the same thing and just let Anton go, then you're in the same place where you were again.
Agreed. I think the one thing we don't want to see is Ant sort of get involved in this brilliant championship battle, but I know that he's a very clean driver and we'll make sure that he doesn't. That gap now between Connor is down to 0.3. Let's see what sort of exit Jackson gets. This is excellent. He's got so much traction out of that last corner. I think it's all now a question of how much ERS do you spend as they head out of the first corner. He's going to the same line. He's going around the outside. Is he going to have the stones this time? Oh, there's contact.
But Connor still holds on to his position. This is some fight here for this championship for those two. Well, it looks like Matsnats had a moment in Sector 1. It's now 6 and 7 more points.
Yeah, that is such a shame for the Alpine driver. He's had the pace, but not quite the consistency today. So, fortunately, down in P16. That battle between Connor and Jackster, I mean, I think I think if there's a lesson for Jackster, it's go for the inside line. When Connor has the inside, it's so easy for him to try and keep the apex. You've got so much longer to go around, you really have to have the overspeed or be a long way ahead before the apex of that first corner to make that move work, because otherwise Connor is always just going to be able to, and it's perfectly legal, just sort of edge Jackster out, and he's going to get frustrated if he keeps going all along fire. Jay Rooster unfortunately is DNF'd and has left the session, so bad day for the Williams driver. Fingers crossed he'll be back next season. I'm going to beat back the on board. Who have we got? Jackster again looking very racy. He will have the DRS this lap. It should be activated.
He is activated now. Bowley is out, his teammate. Will this cause another safety car?
Yes, it does. So we are denied another race down to the finish line as the safety car pops out. He wants to get involved. Jackson to get past there. Okay, good. Didn't have a bit of contact with the safety car. That would have been embarrassing. So as the field is once again neutralised, I think what's going to happen, if you're the Fox or single track, you've got to get off those hard tyres. What do you do if you're somebody like Night Shadow or Scratch on those 13 lap hole hards? You can still go to the end, but do you think it's worth taking the risk and coming in?
Well, it is a risk to pit now because the field is still pretty much close by. And if you, I think if you pit now, you'd probably be like somewhere maybe P13 at best, P13, P12. That's at best if you pit right now. Or you have to be lucky, but luck is never on someone's side in this game, so...
Yes, good point. I think maybe the ones it's a bit interesting for are drivers like we've got Ty Clear in the Williams and Ghost Rider in the Alpine. They've got 5 lap old mediums, and of course they're going to struggle. Maybe they've got, 8 laps on those to get to the end. And the more laps under the safety car they have, the less they're going to lean on their tyre, the more I think they're going to be racier against those hards around them. Yeah, I'd say that those two could be on for a surprisingly good result tonight if they are able to use the tyre that they have. I'm going to get the detail up on the number of stops. Gosh, you were saying it's been a tricky night for Melvin, who is currently winning the DHL Most Pit Stops Award with 4 as the Fox and single track. Get into the pits.
I think that would go. Connor is now technically, if you beat it, of course, he is technically on the podium. Simba is tier 3, right? I don't even know anymore.
Simba's tier 2, definitely. Scratch, I think, is he usually tier 3? Let me just see if he's...
I think it's the tier 2 reserve.
Okay, gotcha. So, I will just double check that as I go on the Discord. So yeah, so he's not, Scratch isn't subject to any of the demotion rules, so that'll be a podium for Scratch at the moment if he keeps it. So back to the tyre graphics there. So good for Gav and Scratch, but remember their tyres are very, very old. Simba, the tier 2 driver, had a better race. I think he had a tough one in tier 2 earlier this week. He's had an excellent, very solid race tonight. I think he, if he wants to, could get the race win on the track, and then we're into our 2 championship contenders behind Connor and Jackster, who will now, every time we have another safety car, it just means that we've got more of a chance for a shootout, and those chances for Jackster just go away each time a little bit more and more. I think the only thing he's got to have in his mind is that he's got the run on Connor twice. He's been side by side into turn 1 on multiple occasions. I just think he needs to do it on the inside and needs to find the right line, and he might get that move done.
Yeah, which we definitely in the first corner, if you stick on the outside, you will definitely get pushed wide at some point. Definitely with the tyre age that is now, especially for a Dutchman who can't do it twice, and the first time it's not going to happen, he will start get irritating and pissed.
Well, fingers crossed he is able to keep his head and just take the sensible option of going for the inside, because he's got so much pace. They've been really impressed with Jackster tonight, taking this championship by the scruff of the neck and saying, hey Connor, I'm still here, I'm still going to be your main rival, and I want to take this championship as deep as possible. We're going to have another lap under the safety car, because of course we are. We can't have any fun in tier 3, not yet anyway. as we do the safety car Grand Prix. I think, fingers crossed though, this will be the last one. I know we've got, see where Donny,
still on
yeah, so fingers crossed he can get back in time. Use all your ERS, mate, just burn it up. Try and get to the back of this pack, but I really do want us to go racing again. Very interesting decision. We didn't mention it when he went to the pits, but Single Track decided to put on a pair of softs around about lap 20. So he's trying to go 7 laps on that. Do you think that's a viable strategy to get to the end?
Well, for softs, that is actually the maximum capacity for it as well. Especially under the safety car, you can just warm them up. So I say you get about 6 laps maybe of a full softs.
Well, that does sound about right. I think it's a risk. I mean, I will focus on Martin just for a second here, because you have a look back at the results that he's had previously. He had a rough result. I think he was doing very well, Tier 2, didn't quite come off for him in the luck. He got P2 in a Red Bull in Tier 1 on Monday, and he would have had the race win in Hungary easy if it wasn't for his sportsmanlike behaviour to give the top 3 their position on the podium. But that was also in a Red Bull. I know behind the scenes he had a chance to race in a Red Bull tonight. He had the chance to be in that Fox River 8 seat. He turned it down and went for a McLaren, and I think that's the mistake. The man loves Red Bull to his core. He doesn't just love Max, but he loves Christian Horner. He wants to be him, and I think him being forced out into McLaren has really cost him tonight, and so that'll be him fuming under that helmet as, please Donny, please catch up, I want to go racing again. He's still at that last hairpin.
I think we have another lap.
It's weird, we've had this race.
Be a late call, but nah, we're going to get another lap here.
Yeah, we're going to have another lap of racing. So once again, I think this plays in pretty well for the drivers up top, Night Shadow and Scratch. They just know, hey, I've got those hards on, but those hards have done how many laps under safety car now? 6, 7, 8? They just haven't had to lean on them at all, so those hards should be in absolutely fine racing condition. So you don't have to sort of go into tyre preservation mode. You can push, and we know that Night Shadow can push on the bright evening. Finally,
he can also push a little bit too hard sometimes.
He's the master of the odd strategy, Gav. He's always been, I think one of the best races I saw with him was in Abu Dhabi, when he decided quite a lot of the time to give up the DRS to the car in front, slow down for one sector and then take the position back immediately. And it takes a lot of stones to do that, but he was getting it done every single time. And I just imagine that if you're the car trying to pass him, you just must get so frustrated with that. Gav is a master of the mind games as well. He knows how to get into people's heads, and that's why he's able to get a few, well, I'm not going to call them shock results, deserved results that get him, up the table, and a few mad setups, of course, along the way that give him extraordinary straight line speed. Right, Donny has caught up to the back of the pack, so fingers crossed. Michael Massey is going to allow, and Burt Mylander are going to allow us, please, to do a couple of laps. I don't see another safety car after this, so I think this is going to be...
No, I think this is the last one.
Yeah, so a 5-lap shootout to the end, all or nothing. Is it going to be the Connor and Jackster show? I might focus on them a little bit because it is our closest championship battle, but there'll be, I'm sure, a lot more action up and down the field. That'll be really interesting to see if those super fresh tyre runners like Fox, like Single Track, like Melvin even, can make inroads on these final 5 laps. It only takes one mistake now, it only takes one big error and you're not going to recover, you're not going to get another safety car to get you back in this race. So make the moves, but make them cleanly as well.
Now really it's time to be consistent for these 5 lovely laps.
We've got the call. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, quite cool. I want to say that as well. Let's see, when will Mr. Gaffy Boy go? Of course he's in P1, so we have a very, very slow, quite fast run actually.
Well, I'm looking at his dash now. He is down to 31 miles per hour.
That's actually quite quick for him,
Yeah.
Normally go slower. Oh, he's gone. Oh no, he did not go. Scratch thought he was going.
Thought he was going,
Now he's
yeah.
going.
Yeah, now he's going. Let's go. There's a little bit of case when Scratch is really behind. It's Simba who might have the run. I have a look behind as they're all going to go fairly sensibly into that turn. It's Ant. I don't know what happened to him. Ant is at the back. That's quite good for Connor and Jackster because they won't have the tier 1 man breathing down their necks. They're just going to be allowed to have this scrap in peace, or as much peace as Ty Clear will allow them, who's still looking pretty racy behind them. Melvin up into P10 on the softs, making them work. Could this be redemption for the Ferrari man, who is pushing really, really hard now?
That puts him now up into P10. But of course, if 2 people in front of him are getting demotions, that will put him in P8. Still some points for him on the board.
I can say that looking really racy there behind McLaren, who's got yellow flag right at the back. Not quite sure what that's for. Still going through single file. I'm going to stay on board with Melvin, who's looking so quick. Those softs are fired up so quickly compared to those other medium tyre runners behind. And look, Ghost Rider just doesn't seem to have the pace as the Fox River 8 is all over him. Is he going to think about a move into Spoon? No. Single track side by side. I think we're going to have a bit of a drag race now. Who's going to spend that ERS as we head down into 130 up? Single track there as they all go through there fairly sensibly. Single file. Jackster and Connor, look at that gap between Jack. I don't know if Jackster's had a moment or something, but it is up to a second. Connor seems to have saved all his ERS as we see single track go through on Fox River 8, and is he going to get the move done on Ghost Rider 2? He's got that outside line, which as we've seen isn't the most productive, as Ghost Rider's thinking about a move on Ty Clear as well. It was all happening there, but the McLaren driver is up into P8. Fox River 8 down into P9, Booth into P10. And I was just as I was saying how well he was doing, unfortunately Melvin, not quite sure if he's had a moment, but he is down into P14. Just no luck for the Dutchman tonight.
Still like a pack though, still feels like a pack. That is something you don't get much when you have a moment.
Yes. But at least he's still in. Is that Donny or somebody? I was just seeing somebody go back down the field. There was a lot of position changes all in one go. And he's over 3 seconds. That's just where you don't want to pick it up, particularly with the field bunched together this much. And we were all saying that it's going to be Connor and Jax, or at least that's what we thought. But Connor's got that out to a second. And Connor is looking the racier of the cars, really pressuring Simba, the tier 2 man, up ahead.
Oh, looks like Scratch up ahead. It's gone a little bit wide. He's got 3 seconds now.
That's such a shame. That's really going to compromise not only his exit out of this corner, but also his entire race. As people like Jackson will want to be desperate to keep it in that 3 second margin to bump them up as many places as we can, because remember, Scratch isn't going to have the promotion. Meanwhile, Night Shadow up front, must be said, is just having a very quiet race, saying thank you very much. I'll take these hard tyres all the way to the end if you don't want to fight me. And it's been such a good race from right at the back of the field. Remember where he was about lap 8, right at the back, looked nowhere, and the race has just fallen into his lap. Stay on board. I'm going to go on board with Mark.
All part of his master plan.
I'm sure it is. I will, if he's still in the lead in the final lap, I will do the final lap in Scottish for him in tribute.
Ho, ho, ho. He would love that.
We will see, but at the moment it's looking very racy through the S's. We've got Ty Clear only 0.3 behind Jackson, who's suddenly begun to really struggle in these final few sectors. Those hard tyres, 14 laps old, not really working for him. And look how racy Ty Clear is behind him. He's got Ghost Rider right up his chuff and single track. Are they all going to go? They're going to 3 wide into this hairpin. Single track takes the inside line. That's an excellent move on Ghost Rider, and he's up into P7. Stick on board with Simba, P3. What have we seen?
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
That came out of nowhere.
It's fine. The tension is getting to us all as we get into the final 2 laps of this race. Remember, DRS is available, so Simba will have the option to use it.
Yellow, and that is a Ferrari, and that is Melvin again.
Melvin again.
Oh, he was getting closer again to his podium positions, but shamefully not. I mean podium, I mean points.
Yep. stick on board.
Simba getting past Scratch.
is maybe a little bit of a love tap there as they go through that first sector. Scratch had to put the anchors out, but he is still up into P2. Excellent, and now it's an Aston Martin 1-2. Remember Simba, the Tier 2 driver. Is he in a chat with Gav? Is he going to play the team game? As it's Melvin, who unfortunately has retired. I think that's in the pit, so it's P16 on the road for him. No time for a safety car to save him or anything like that, so we are going to keep on racing right until the end. See where our other little battles are. We've got Connor in 4th, but he knows Scratch Charisma has that 3-second penalty.
Fox now for 2 seconds.
That's a shame, he was pushing so hard. Now's the time where you are going to push. You're going to have to think, right, I'm going to do 5 qualifying laps, and as you said, that's where you need to cut the corners, and that's where those mistakes are going to start to come in. Jackson now 2 seconds behind Connor. He just hasn't been in this race since the safety car restart, and he is the one who's going to have to defend from single track behind, who is on the soft tyre. He's really made that work, gone up a number of places. This is what he wanted to do in Tier 2 on Monday. Couldn't quite make it work, but he's gone up an excellent amount of places tonight.
I thought I was going to see a scrap battle between the two, but apparently not.
No, apparently it just hasn't quite come to pass. Not that Connor's going to mind at all. As we get on to the last lap, Knight, Gav on those 21 lap old hards as he goes on to the final lap of the race. What an excellent control it's been from the Scotsman tonight. From last on the grid to first, all he's got to do now is keep the track on the track, defend from Simba behind him, and there'll be haggis for tea and a wee dram of whiskey. But it's Scratch who's behind as well, and it's Connor in 4th, who is going to want that P3 on the road. As I switch back into English as I try and see the biggest race on the circuit.
Yeah, I think Connor's P2, you know.
Oh, he's P2, isn't he? With demotions.
With Simba's demotion, he's technically P2, so very good points for him.
Well,
Jackster, I think he's going to stick to P4, because he's now literally 3 seconds behind Connor. And single track now is taking him on.
Oh, that's an excellent move. He's not usually, you see a lot of moves down into that hairpin, but he gets it done up into P5. This just looks like a really fun race for Martin, who's made those softs come alive. Yeah, like you say, that penalty for Scratch isn't going to be enough. Jackson just isn't close enough behind them, so it's going to be P4. An excellent night for Connor as Simba is closing in on the Scotsman. Is he going to ruin the party here? As he seems to back off.
That will be something if he did that.
Yeah, no, I don't
take it in the last corner.
Don't think he is. As the man from Scotland, the David Coulthard of the league, the Paul de Resta takes it over the line. That is P1 for the Aston Martin. Simba in P2. Connor, excellent race. Really, I don't know what he had. He just had something a little bit more than his championship role at the end. Takes P3 over the line. Scratch, 23 lap old hards. Excellent race from him. He finishes 4th. Single track, 5th. Took the late pit stop. I thought those guys were going to be nowhere at the back of the grid, but he proved me wrong, pulling that car all the way up into 5th. Jackster, considering where he started, back down in P20th. To get it up to 6th, that is not a failure at all. He's got a lot to be proud of. And we've got Tightly at 7th, Donny 8th, Mutton-Ups 9th, Boothie 10th and 11th, Back Mazo 12th, Rob Smith 13th, Ghost Rider in 14th, and the last man across the line. He's going to just do a few donuts for us, just showing off that Red Bull pace. Go on, Fox, end it for us. Please, end it. I just wanted to end. Please.
Oh, Fox, you're not, man.
He's just
show off the Red Bull, will he?
He's showing off what the Red Bull can do.
Now it says Fox River is disqualified.
Yes. Go on. Just a little bit forward. No. Goodness me, those tyres are really warmed up, aren't they, Fox? He's getting ever closer. We just want Tier 4 to start. There we go, and across the line. Up into P15 for Fox. That's the end of the race. So, I think that's been an excellent run from start to finish. Who would you say is your driver of the day? The game's given it to Gav. Do you disagree?
Well, in my opinion, it has to be Gav, to be fair. Well, for the things he has done, he started in P13 and he comes home with a win. It's like a Max Verstappen sort of race somewhere, starting somewhere just for fun and just work yourself off the field just to get there.
I think it shows that sometimes it pays to. We were talking about that first safety car. Is it right to go on the hards now? It was really early. He took the gamble, and as the race panned out, I know we had a lot of safety cars. People were forced to pit. He just found himself in P1, and then most importantly, he was able to keep his head, keep his cool, and take it over the line for an excellent win. And that is an Aston Martin 1-2. That won't do them any damage in the team championship either. So let's take you down our final standings, or our provisional standings, until the stewards get involved. So it's Night Shadow P1, Simba P2. He will have the demotion, of course, which means Connor is going to be P2 in the Tier 3. Excellent run from the Red Bull man. Scratch, shame about the penalty, but an excellent race from him down in P4. Single track P5, but again, he will have a demotion. Jackster P6, excellent run from the Mercedes man. 20th on the grid, up into 6th place, and that will go up to 4th, so no shame there. Ty Clear in 7th, Donny 8th, Mutz Nuts 9th, Boosty in 10th. Ant Tier 1 driver down P11, back Mazo in 12th, Rob Smith P13, which is not bad for a man who didn't even have a connection for most of that race. Ghost Rider in P14, Fox River 8 in 15th, and then we're on to the drivers who unfortunately did not finish. That would be Melvin P17, Fire Rooster, Panazia, and finally Mindful Wasp. Thanks for joining us tonight, everybody who's on the YouTube. It's been great to have your company, and it's been great to have your company as well, Matty. It's been really nice commentating with you.
Thank you.
No, that's all right, no problem. Lot to learn from me, a lot of new accents as well to wrap my tongue around. And if you like bizarre accents and more of the same action, we will be going live in approximately 20 minutes for Tier 4, where, fingers crossed, you can get a good result as well. I'll be rooting for you and watching.
We will see.
Yeah, have a good one, go well, and for everybody watching, we'll see you in a bit. See ya.
Good night.